Welcome to this third tutorial for Site Progress Mobile. This tutorial covers the importing of information back into Powerproject 15 that has been posted in the web. And just to remind you that the first tutorial covered the process of configuring a project in Powerproject and exporting that information and identifying who it should go to. The second tutorial focused on the mobile remote user, where they downloaded the information, recorded progress until a specified period, added notes and photos, and then submitted that back to the cloud. And once they've done that, then the person who published that receives an email that tells them that that information has been submitted and is waiting for them. So this tutorial covers the process of reviewing that information, downloading it from the cloud, and then examining it in Powerproject and starting the whole cycle again. So here we are in Powerproject and we're ready to import that information. I'm already logged on to Site Progress Mobile and I can see which information is ready to import because this filter drop down gives me access to the information in the cloud. So this is going to show me all those projects that I received an email about that have been submitted. And we need to look briefly at the settings section where there is a very few settings about the import. So just to discuss those briefly, one is that should we use the only progress period or the one that you've designated as default and change its date each time and not create a new one? Or should we let Site Progress Mobile itself create a new progress period, which it will give a random color to, and it will use the date of the import process. So they're the two settings about the progress period, the date line. Should we just import the progress information immediately without any checks? Or if you have it ticked, it means that you'll get a chance to look at it and make changes possibly and accept it or reject it. And then with all the photographs that have been made, do you want to keep them in the cloud, which would be ticked, or do you want to download them to a place that you specify that this computer's got access to? So I'm going to keep mine in the cloud for this time. So if I look at the file options and we look at the progress section, then that's not true. If we look at the file sections, where these photographs start off being stored is in the folder defined in this path. So from that the last folder in that path, we will then create a new folder for every project, and within it subfolders with the task ID of the activities with the photograph. So this could be a shared drive, one that everybody can see. Best not to put it on your C drive, because when you don't have this project on your machine anymore, you'll break all the links to the data. So that's the status of where we go with that information. So back to the Site Progress Mobile page. So I would just remind you that you can have multiple ones here, and if we can right mouse click on these and we can change their status. So we could change it back to exported from submitted, and the remote user could re-download it and re-edit it, which of course they can do themselves on the app. But we could set its status to archived and just archive it away and not worry about it, or we could just delete it. So if we've made a mistake in the export, then we delete it and we export it again, possibly. But in this particular case, we want to download that. We could do it here, so we could select it, and if we had many in the list, we could select them all. And with them selected, we can set the import date that we're interested in, and we click on the import button, and it would open each project in turn and update each one individually. But I've got this project open, so I'm going to go to the project tab, and I'm going to do it for this individual project in one go. So I'm going to import the progress using this button, I'm going to select this only user. There might be more than one. We're going to set that future progress line that we spoke of. And if you, because you exported on a certain date, if you try to import on a different date, you will be warned that that might cause you a problem. And we're not going to override your setting. We're just going to remind you. And then we're going to click on OK. And now it's going to bring back all the information from the cloud. And because I've said I want to verify that, I've got this dialog where I've got all of the activities and the details that have been entered for each of the sections of the program, so we can focus on those in turn. And for each one, I could say, well, I don't think that's true. That one that didn't actually finish until the 24th. So we can change data on the way in. We can change anything that was edited in the app. So we can change quantities, remaining durations, etc. So, but also you can accept individual ones and reject other ones. Now, if you reject things, it doesn't go back to the user remotely. It just means it's not imported. So it's always worth realizing it's not going to tell the user that's your responsibility. You don't have to bother ticking every one because you can just click on and you can copy this all to the clipboard so you can email it to somebody or store it as a record. But if you just click on continue, you do get the opportunity to accept everything or reject everything. And I'm going to accept everything. And so there we can see the change. It's made a new progress period. It's told me that it's successfully done it. It's made a new progress period and it's just called site progress 9th of June. And so I can call that, I can give that a name, and it's possibly, it depends what numbering sequence you use. So this is week 5. Maybe I don't like the color, I could change that. But you have those choices yourself. So that information has been imported. Here our actual quantities have changed. So there's the quantity that we have remotely that we've brought in. The 1600 is what we should have done at that date to that milestone. I've still got the progress line being straight, so I could show you that on with it being jagged, and so you can see where you're head and behind schedule. I've not rescheduled this yet. I'm going to do that after talking about it. So if we didn't agree, we could override it. We could say, well, I was down there and they've actually done this one. So all that Site Progress is doing what you could do inside Powerproject, and you can amend it. Any of that information, you can amend it. But I also want to just show you where the extra information has gone. So we've got 2 extra columns. So we've got a column called New Text Notes, and so that is a data column under identification called Text Notes. So that's where the timed notes are going. And also the second column, Attachments, is out of the miscellaneous section, and that's where the hyperlinks are put, the pictures and the file references. So in this particular case, we had a note on the 8th of April that the subcontractor issue, and then on the 18th with another one. So we've got the dates, and so that means we can show you the previous one. So that's the situation with those. And where you've got an attachment, you've got a underlined blue link, and if you alt click on that, it opens the dialog with those, and you can choose which one of those. So if you click on that, it will open in this case the photo on the cloud, or it could do it on your local computer. So that's where you establish the links to the items that have been imported. So I would now, having received this, I would probably re-baseline it. I would reschedule it to see what impact that would have on the plan, and I might want to make some adjustments about that. So we've got to this state, and so that would be, I would now be ready to go back to Site Progress Mobile. I would be ready to export. I would choose a day in the future, and I would start the whole process again. So that is the final piece of the jigsaw of bringing the information into Powerproject, where it stores it, what it does with certain values, and the cycle continues. So thank you for listening to the third tutorial in the sequence of 3.